The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to episode number 212 of the Pesky Report. I'm Brandon Brewer, and joining me today, we have Ed Hand, Brad Chandler, and the bad boy of Red Sox Twitter, Hogdale. Guys, what's going on?
What up? What up?
Happy to be back.
Happy to be back. That's right. This is the first official Pesky Report of the 2023 baseball season. I know we've been doing a lot of episodes throughout the off season with the Men of Tomorrow and just our random shenanigans episodes. But this is the first episode back that we actually have baseball on the field content to talk about. And of course, we've got the bad boy of Red Sox Twitter with us, Hogdale, that's going to let us know some of his thoughts and feelings about the state of Red Sox Nation, and I'm definitely looking forward to that as well.
The state, the absolute state.
Well, I mean, the absolute state right now is that the Red Sox are undefeated in 2023. How about that? For everything that this Red Sox team has heard about being underperformers, about being a garbage last place team, since the calendar turned to 2023, they are undefeated.
Yeah, unbeaten, 2-game unbeaten streak. You know, let the record show that. Heim Bloom haters.
It's 3 games if you count that.
Oh, you're right.
Northeastern game.
The Northeastern. You know, fucking fuck a college team, bro. Like, are you kidding me? But these kids can't handle it. They can't. Shouldn't have even showed up.
Did you guys see the clip that was going around of the Northeastern players that were just like, they were awestruck to just be playing against the Boston Red Sox, and like it was panning through their dugout, and all of them were just like slack-jawed, not saying anything, just watching the game. That's kind of how I felt watching baseball again. I was like, oh, it's back.
I think, I don't know if it was more like awestruck or it was more like they were just super tired because they got in at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Fair point. Very fair point.
Northeastern's there like, man, they could have gotten BC, but no, they chose us, man. This is so cool. Like, we got to play the Sox.
That's a very fair point. I forgot that they mentioned that during the broadcast that Northeastern arrived at 5 a.m. and then had the game start at 1 p.m. So, like, even the starting pitcher who, you know, colleges, they don't send their starting pitchers ahead of the rest of the team so they get proper rest. He was trying to sleep on the plane and all this stuff, and then he got shelled in the first inning. And it's like, oh yeah, no wonder he's half asleep still.
I think he had like a 135 ERA, like not a 1.35. I think it was 135 ERA.
Ouch.
Yeah, those short sample sizes are brutal, huh?
I'll pull that up.
That's terrible. While Brad's looking that up, and I'm sure he'll get back to us shortly, we talked about the Red Sox being undefeated, but the Red Sox Nation has a far worse record this offseason for coming up with a lot of things. They've taken a lot of L's all over the place. And I know Hogdale's going to get into a lot of that later on. He said that he's got some stuff that he wants to get off his chest, but I do want to focus on some of the positives before we get into all of that. Brad, go ahead.
So he has a 135 ERA.
All right, 135 ERA. Luckily, that was just an exhibition game, and it doesn't actually count on his college stats, nor will it count on any of his professional stats if he makes it to that point in his career. So James
Quinlivan.
That's a game that he would rather soon forget. Let's focus on some of the positives that we've seen in the past few days. First off, Chris Sale throwing from the mound looks good, but most importantly says that he felt good after throwing. guys, what kind of impact do we think that Chris Sale could have on this rotation if he's able to have at least a prolonged stint of healthiness?
Well, first off, I got to say that I commend Chris Sale on being able to walk from the bench to the mound in the first place without falling and breaking his wrist. So really, that was the first big win when I knew that things were really turning around for the 2023 Boston Red Sox. The vibes are completely different. And that's the first sign of it. But his impact could be huge. I mean, even if he never gets back to peak Chris Sale, one of the 3 best pitchers in the league, if he's Chris Sale from when he last came back, dude, like right around a 3 ERA, he could still hit about 98 on the gun. That's a more than valuable member of this pitching staff. And he could be invaluable, especially for this team that is just desperately needs an ace to step up.
Yeah, he doesn't have to be that Chris Sale from 2017, 2018 either. He just has to lead the rotation. I think that I saw an article the other day that was referring to Nathan Eovaldi as an ace, which was like, he might have been a number 1 starter in 2021. I wouldn't really consider him an ace.
That's a great value ace.
Yeah, as long as Sale can just go out there, give you 5-6 good innings every night, that's all you're
not
really
an
need from
ace.
him.
Eovaldi.
No, he was never an ace. But he was a good pitcher, just not an ace. Like, not every number 1 starter is going to be an ace.
Right.
And what makes that more egregious is the fact that he plays for the Rangers now, and they do have a true ace. So referring to Nate as an ace on that staff is terrible.
Their ace is Martin Perez.
Exactly.
God, don't fucking remind me.
Brad, what do you think about Sale and his potential impact for this season? And what do you feel about the news that we were hearing that he's looking good and feeling good on the mound right now?
I honestly don't have an opinion until we see him actually pitch in a game.
Okay.
I feel like he's been surrounded by like black clouds for the past couple of years that like we need to get him through, like, I want to say at least a month of baseball before we start making an opinion, because you never know what happened the last time he was out on the mound and Stanton hit a ball right back at him and it broke his pinky. And then like a week or 2 later, he falls off his bike. I mean, I just want to wait. I don't want to say anything. I don't want to have an opinion yet. I want to see. I don't want to hear.
The good news with that is, those 2 injuries were unrelated to anything to do with his Tommy John surgery. So that's just given him much longer to recover from the Tommy John surgery. And hopefully that's allowed that to heal. And he's going to come back and that elbow will be fine. I think it's a good sign that he feels good. Yeah, if he's out there and he's hitting 95, 96 with his fastball and his slider has that bite that we've all come to know and love, then that's great. But feeling good the next day and the day after is what really matters to me.
Can we start calling his slider the Brandon Walters slider?
Oh, a lot of comparisons between that, huh?
It seems like I'm not going to deny that it's definitely not. I'm not going to deny that there's something there. Like, they're both lefties. They both throw sliders. They're both nasty. But it's like every quote tweet that I got today on that Brandon Walters slider video that I posted, it was literally, doesn't he remind you of Chris Sale? Oh, he looks like Chris Sale. Oh, welcome to the 2023 Red Sox, Brandon Walters. And it's like, yeah, we get it. So I figured it's time to give Walters the credit he's due. It's now his slider.
And Sale's just emulating.
Right.
Speaking of those videos, Brad, you've been absolutely knocking it out of the park so far this spring training, capturing these videos and getting them out there before anyone else has them on Twitter. So well done, sir. Good job to you for getting those up and out there. Yep, pat yourself on the back. Yeah, I'm excited for Chris Sale. Honestly, I think that if he's able to stay somewhat healthy and be in the clubhouse this year, as opposed to last year, not even being with the team the majority of the time, I think just his presence alone will make a huge impact. And it does certainly seem like Chaim Bloom and the rest of the front office have taken notice that slider is pretty wipeout, and they've Penny making her
presence felt,
her presence known, her almost automatic every episode appearance.
No, I said shut the fuck up. So
Penny's just asserting dominance, man. Like she just knows, like fucking, first pot.
Dog
get over here.
Oh my god, who doesn't love Penny, man? Penny's the best.
Yeah, she's the star of the show for real. So aside from Chris Sale, let's move on a little bit. What players are standing out to you guys in spring training? I know it's small sample size. We've only seen them play 2 actual games and an exhibition game, but what players are standing out to you guys the most? Brad, go ahead and
I think I'm going to make Ed jizz his pants going with a couple of these. I'm going with some of the minor league guys. Walters today, fucking phenomenal. He looks so good. Rio Gomez, he's had a couple appearances so far. He got banged up real quick. Someone knocked a homer off of him, but either way, he still looked good. Murphy, he looked good as well. I mean, we can go with the low hanging fruit and say Yoshi and stuff like that, but being able to like talk to these guys on our show and then seeing what they are capable of doing, it's just a different feeling, it gives you a different look at the game.
I agree with that. Like seeing guys like Eli Marrero getting a shot out there and being like, oh, hey, that guy follows me on Twitter. Like that's a pretty cool feeling to have, and to be able to talk to you guys that we've all, interacted with these guys all off season. It's really cool that we're like, oh yeah, it's like we're watching our buddies play ball at this point.
Exactly.
Ed.
Yeah. I mean, Walter was especially impressive today. He just blowing guys away, and he got hurt, and I think he would have been on the 40-man before the end of the season if he hadn't, but that back disc issue he was having didn't heal overnight. It took from June until like December for him to be fully healed, but you can kind of tell he's looking good. So he was exceptionally impressive. Matthew Lugo, though, 5 RBI, double, game tying, bases loaded, double, game tying, 2-run triple. And his defense didn't look half bad either. So Lugo's one, he actually got a non-roster invite sort of at the last second, which was kind of impressive considering he's played 3 games at AA. That's it. He called up very end of the season, 3 games, but he's someone that's interesting and who improved quite a bit last season. I mean, we got Bobby D. We saw spring Bobby D. We saw some spring Fitzy with the walk-off hit for Fitzy today, and then Bobby had a double and a home run. Raimel Tapia had a pair of opposite field doubles yesterday too, which was pretty cool. Trying to think if there's anybody else that really stood out that we haven't mentioned. Verdugo looked good, 2 hits.
I have one that nobody mentioned. The pitch clock.
Oh, hell yeah.
Let's fucking go.
We'll get into that. We'll get into that. Let's hold off on that for now, though. Hogdale, what players have impressed you so far this spring?
One guy that, obviously, like Yoshida, I really just like his approach, just his swing. I love everything about him. I'm just so excited to see him like in the regular season and going forward, shut some dudes up because he looks legit. I really like him on the earliest of early returns. One guy that I liked on the offensive end, especially a dude that I've been parading half as a joke and half seriously for a little while now, is Emmanuel Valdez. Emmanuel Valdez Hive, rise up. This kid can hit. He can rake. And as I said on a guy on Twitter, I said, this kid can rake. Defense is for nerds. Who cares? Okay, get him in the lineup. He can hit. No one gives a fuck. Imagine playing defense.
That play at second yesterday pissed me off. It wasn't even a real game. It was just a training game. It was terrible.
But fuck defense. We're not here for the defense.
Hogdale does not like the D.
So to that point, Hogdale, I think Christian Vasquez has been one of the standout stars for the Boston Red Sox this spring because both players that have that we got in return have been very good. Emmanuel Valdez and Abreu have both had pretty solid springs. So yeah, thank you, Christian Vasquez.
All for half a season of Christian Vasquez. Thanks, Houston.
Yeah. Ed, you mentioned it. The king of spring is back. Bobby Dahlbeck. Man, something about spring training, Florida baseball, that dude just explodes. Maybe it's just against minor league pitching that he does better. I don't know. One or the other. But
with Bobby, and I was talking to somebody about this yesterday. We've seen him hit major league pitching. We've seen him go on runs at the major league level.
That's true.
He was great in 2020. He had that awesome second half in 2021 that made people think, okay, 2022 breakout Bobby year. I don't know. Maybe with less pressure on him, with Casas being up and, he doesn't have to protect his starting role, maybe we see a new Bobby. Maybe we see that post-hype sleeper Bobby Dahlbeck.
See, people kind of are giving up on Bobby a bit too quickly because a lot of people forget over his first 162 game sample, he had an OPS above 800. Like this dude, he can hit major league pitching. We've seen it happen. It's just last year was just such a disaster, and hopefully, like you said, maybe the expectations being lowered a bit and the eyes being taken off him could help.
I think that's why I was kind of okay with maybe having Bobby D as the DH going into the season. If obviously Justin Turner come along and that kind of pushed that back. But I think Bobby D, if he's allowed to just focus on hitting, he could be a different type player. He could be more valuable in that sense, instead of having him worry about taking grounders and playing different spots around the infield and the pressure of, Casas is coming up right behind you. You better perform or you're going to be trade bait or something. If he's able to just focus on one skill and that skill is hitting a baseball, I think he could be a different type player.
Did you guys see the article that Ian Brown wrote about Bobby Dahlbeck and what he did this offseason?
No, I missed that.
I had posted it on my personal account, and it looks as though like he's been doing some reading and he's been doing some studying on a big hitter, not an MLB, a Shadahuru O.
Sanihiro O?
Yeah. So he's hit like 800 and something home runs.
He's a Japanese Babe Ruth.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, Babe Ruth's the American him. So, he hit 868 homers in Japan, and Dahlbeck was like, I studied a lot of O stuff and kind of read his book and tried to pick his brain, hypothetically, pick his words out and just find things that work for me. And so one of the things that he talks about in this article with Ian Brown is his approach. If you notice, both of his hits were opposite field hits.
Yep, he had a double and a home run.
Right, they were both oppos. And so that's what he's trying to work on. He's trying to stay on the ball. He's trying to not pull it nearly as much. Because if you remember, I don't know if you guys follow Lou Merlone, but there was a lot of like joking about Bobby where like, all right, he's going to swing, foul to the right, foul to the right, foul to the right, foul to the right, and now out. That was him last year. So as long as he can stay with the ball and he's hitting it to the opposite field, I think he'll be good.
Yeah.
I know it's a small sample size. I also know it's only spring training, and we know how Bobby can be during spring training. But if he can hit it the opposite field, I think he'll be good. And he'll be good trade bait.
And the Red Sox just lost a designated hitter that was well known for being able to spray the ball all over the field. And he was very good at staying back and going opposite field.
Yeah, and he sucked last year.
He did suck last year. So maybe Bobby was trying to learn a little bit from him last year, and that's why he sucked. Who knows?
Something to remember with JD Martinez also. He was kind of a late bloomer too. Wasn't he released? Put on waivers or something?
Yeah,
he was. He was released by Houston.
Yeah, the Astros gave up on him.
Yeah, they just gave up on him, and I I can kind of. I'm not going to say he's going to be the same type of hitter as JD Martinez, but I can kind of see what you're talking about, and I could see the Red Sox not giving up on him as quickly as everybody else want them to. So, because they don't want to happen. They don't want what happened with JD Martinez to happen to them, and Houston Astros.
Sure. So, we're talking a lot about Bobby D. What do you guys think about the potential bench spot battle that could brew between Tapia, Dahlbeck, and Duran?
Duran's gone.
Own. Fucking Brad spitting. I've been on the fuck Jaron Duran bandwagon since that play, and you know what play I'm talking about, which was
it's so terrible that all you have to say is that play, and everybody knows
that play, dude. I mean, that's the
most. Which one do you think was worse, him or Arroyo?
Oh, him. Fucking because Duran just didn't try. Like
inside the park grand slam. Yeah.
Fucking hell, man.
Like Arroyo got the guy out at the plate too.
Like Arroyo's like not used to being out there, and like he misjudged it, lost in the lights. Fine, but the worst part about that Duran play, it's not that he fucking like just couldn't see it. Whatever, that happens. You're terrible.
Just let it die.
You know this. It's just that fucking he just let it roll. He didn't do anything. It's
he just stood there.
I've never felt more like a boomer baseball fan ranting at the youth than fucking that play, because genuinely it infuriated me. I'm like, this dude's fucking get him off my team. Holy shit. Like the opposite of competitive. Like,
see,
I cannot come back from that.
I wasn't going there with that. I mean, that's a very valid point. I was gonna go there. I was gonna be like, Latavia's got more experience out in the outfield, so him right away for the bench, and then Bobby can play. He can play all the infield positions if need be. What can Duran do?
He's fast.
He run fast.
Tapia is fast too.
Him and his dad have big biceps. That's what they do. The Durans.
Yeah, I look at that bench battle, and I don't share the same hatred for Duran. I think that he needs to figure out who he is. That's kind of his problem. They've been talking a lot about David Hamilton and needing to be more of a slap, like on the ground slap hitter to utilize his speed. But I kind of feel the same way about Duran, who seems to rework his swing every 2 weeks, tries to be a power hitter, tries to go all ways, but really he just needs to get on base. Like he's got a skill set that nobody else is going to be able to emulate with that kind of speed. They've got two guys like that in him and Hamilton. But I think Tapia is just a lot more useful right now. He can play all three outfield positions, and that's really important with Duran right now because with Duvall, because we don't know how he's going to be in center field full time. And we don't know, with Alex Verdugo, his defense in right was, I guess it was fine, but I feel like you want somebody maybe a little bit better there, especially late in the game. So I think Tapia is probably of the guys they've brought in on minor league deals, he's the one that I like the best for a bench role. He's the most versatile. So I would like to see him make the 26-man.
He's having a good spring so far, so good chance of it. And I agree. And, it is kind of funny that we clowning on Duran a little bit, but Tapia was the other player on the opposite side of that play that hit that ball. So for the Red Sox to bring him in has to be like a kick to the nuts to Duran. It's like, hey, you're literally in a competition with a guy that made you look the absolute worst.
He's having Vietnam flashbacks literally every day in the clubhouse, man. Anytime he sees them. That is unfortunate.
Yeah,
I'm just imagining like the Kill Bill thing with like the
yes,
or whatever it was, whenever Duran sees Tapia.
I guarantee that's true. Yes, sir.
That's awesome, man. That's a great analogy there. Yeah.
So we've already seen that the pitch clock has made its presence known and impacted a game in a major way. In the first official spring training game between the Red Sox and the Braves, it ended on an automatic strikeout with bases loaded on a 3-2 count. The batter thought that it was a ball and started walking down the first base line thinking that he just drew a walk with an RBI walk-off, but then he was punched out by home plate umpire. Now, the rule states that they have to be in the box and alert to the pitcher. That's the phrase that they keep throwing out there. And you can watch with the clock pulled up. He had his head down, not in an aggressive batting posture at that time. So the strike 3 is warranted. That is legit. But how strict do you think Major League umpires are going to be going forward throughout this season? Are they just being ultra strict right now in spring training to try to whip these guys in the shape, so to speak?
100%. Yeah, that's what they're doing. Oh, go ahead, Ed. Sorry.
Oh, I was going to say, I think you have to do it now when it doesn't actually count so that they're like good and ready when it does. But I do want to say with the pitch clock also that it was great that inning too, because another friend of the show, Joey Stock, could not find the strike zone. And, early spring, that happens, but I'm glad that we didn't have to watch him labor an extra 15 minutes just to walk the bases loaded and then walk in a run or two. And, there was some bad defense behind him to the aforementioned Emmanuel Maldez play. But, what's also kind of cool with that, though? Robert Kwiatkowski, who I guarantee you none of you had heard of, I had barely heard of him, got to make national news. So, good for him on that.
And Lou Merloni went viral on his first day in the broadcast booth, and
dude, he's been awesome.
He just laughed. He just started laughing at the end of that game.
That's awesome.
Pretty much the same reaction we all had, like ah.
So it's like I get fucked.
Let me ask you guys: is the pitch clock going to be a thing in the postseason?
I believe so. Right? Yes.
As far as are they going to use it in the postseason?
Yeah, because
I would think so. Yeah, I haven't heard anything that suggests otherwise.
Now, I'm all for the pitch clock and whatnot, but how would you feel with the postseason game ending like that?
Well, it wouldn't, because it would be 6-6 and it would go to extra innings.
Let's just say it was 6-7. The Braves were up. They had the bases loaded, 2 outs, whatever, right? If he gets on base, it's tied now, right? It wouldn't have ended. They'd go into extra innings, right? But imagine it's 6-7 and he gets called out there. Especially not even just the postseason. Like, imagine in the World Series.
I see what you're saying.
I think that they're going to enforce it differently, though, in the same way you don't see a lot of games end on balks, and, the balk has been around for a very long time. I think that they're going to be a little bit looser when...
It's just like how every officiating crew in every sport, when come playoff time, is looser with the rules. Like in the Super Bowl, dudes are usually mauling each other, every play, and there's barely any calls, except this last one, except the last play of the game.
I was gonna say the same thing. This last Super Bowl was not a good example of that.
But yeah, listen to all the people who are against what the pitch clock's doing right now, and saying it's just too hard to adjust, man. My simple response would to quote our favorite player, the podcast favorite player, Ryan Brazier, when he said, "Get in the fucking box, get in the box." Quit your bitching, just get in the fucking box. You don't need to scratch your taint and rub on your balls between every single pitch. Just get in the fucking box. It's not hard, bro. I thought it'd be the pitchers throwing the bitch fit this early into the season already. But no, it's the fucking batters crying about it. Holy shit, dude. Get in the box.
That's the thing that stands out most to me is, it's a pitch clock, but the hitters are the ones that are having the hardest time adjusting to it. And I think it's to your point. These guys are used to adjusting their gloves and kicking the dirt off their cleats and scratching their balls and, shooting a text message to the girl in row 45 in section G. And, they're used to having all this time to kind of collect their thoughts. And now all of a sudden they've got 7 seconds really to step out and then step back in and be ready to go, because they have to be in by 8 seconds and all this stuff. But as far as when it comes down to the World Series and postseason, Brad, I get what you're saying. And I do see how people would be upset if a game ended like this. But after, let's just ballpark it, around 200 games, you probably have it well figured out by that point.
No, I agree.
How much time you have in between each pitch and what you need to do. And to Ed's point about, they're being a little more strict now. Think about it like how they used to check pitchers for foreign substances when they would come off the mound. They legit had guys taking their belts off and dropping their pants to check for foreign substance. And now it's
Wasn't that Scherzer?
It was Scherzer.
Yeah,
I think there was somebody else that did it too, but Scherzer was the first one. And now whenever they check for foreign substances, they just go, "Oh, yep, good."
Unless you're that umpire that like looks at the guy's eyes while he's rubbing.
Oh, that
the
guy is
ball.
such a fucking clown. That guy was such a clown.
That was a creeper.
That was creeper.
That's the thing, though, is like it's being strictly enforced. They'll get used to it. I think the numbers from the minor leagues were that over the course of the entire season, like the violations averaged like 0.5 a game. So pretty much like there's one violation every other game. Like that's like one strike call. So they'll figure it out. I mean, it just takes a bit of time. Baseball players are creatures of habit. I just think the whining and the diaper loading is hilarious.
I'm glad you mentioned that creature of habit thing here, because what was I feel like you wanted to talk about this earlier also with that Cotillo story about our buddy Tristan Casas.
Future 10-time All-Star Hall of Famer Tristan Casas. He's him. He's that guy. Just saying.
He's also the current bad boy of the Boston Red Sox. Apparently.
He is.
So it's only appropriate that the bad boy of Red Sox Twitter be able to address this.
Apparently they were hating on my fucking boy, Tristan Casas, because he's out here showing off his amazing abs and his tree trunk fucking thighs, sunbathing in his first few games. They're jealous. Based on speculation, could be a few dudes who were bums as pitchers who needed the run support. And they just like, God, this guy's just natural Adonis body. I can never obtain this. Just fucking the resentment is building. So they're very upset about it. And I hate baseball culture sometimes, man. I really do. You get a guy come in, he's a bit different, and we gotta fucking shame him and like say like, no, you're wrong. This is literally such Freddie Freeman, what he did to Ronald Acuna, like when he joined, and fucking Acuna's just being himself and like, we don't do that here. Literally the second Acuna became established, he didn't change a single thing about himself. No one could say a thing. So that's what's going to happen with Casas. He'll be a stud, and no one will give a fuck.
Did you hear about the naps? He was napping.
That was funny. House. Yeah, that one I can kind of get. Like, okay, you could just take a nap in the nap room. We have a nap room.
Now they're having him. Now he's got to do his sun tanning on the coke deck.
Yeah, and I think Cora said like, "Oh, it's closer to the sun, really, so it just makes sense."
I just had this mental image of Cora like having like a diagram that he's explaining, like a big whiteboard that he's like explaining this to Casas with, like, you will be closer to the sun, therefore.
That's the thing, man. It's just
you absorb more energy, you hit more home run.
But that story, in a nutshell, is like why no one in baseball has a fucking personality that's marketable, because they beat it out of these dudes as soon as they come out of the minors. Like fucking, oh, you're showing any semblance of fun or whatever. Shut up, Rook. Fucking fall in line. Like, goddamn, guys. Holy shit. We're trying to be marketable here. We're trying to get more people in the game. You're trying to just fucking put them into a box. To
his credit, Casas does not seem to give a shit, which is honestly like pretty funny to watch. Like his whole thing with like, yeah, got my red. He got his nails painted red to match his glove.
He's the best.
Yeah, I think I might do it the whole season, and I'm just gonna drop some tweets about big Swedish fish running the airports. Whatever, just throw that in on the side. Well, here's my mustache for the winter
weekend
jerk off session or whatever. Winter weekend. Yeah,
the jerk off session.
Yeah.
New
just
name,
like, yeah, I'm just kidding. Mustache is gone. Fuck it. Just Tristan Casas here, man.
Speaking of mustaches, Josh Winkowski, dude.
Solid.
This one's going to turn his career around.
He did look good today. Most of the pitchers look good today.
Yeah, it was really just Jacob Webb and Skylar Arias that kind of hit some trouble. I thought, like you were talking about Rio earlier, he looked good. He struck out the side. It was just one bad pitch to a big league hitter, and people forget this. Rio hasn't thrown a pitch. He didn't pitch more than like 11 innings last year, and he had myocarditis that like kind of took him out for the entire season. He was pitching on fumes when he was actually out there, so. That he's striking out guys and making them look stupid and making the World Baseball Classic for Colombia. Like, it's pretty cool for the guy.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, very good. Very good for him. We talked about Tristan Casas. What expectations do we have for him, on the positive side? 40 bombs. That's a rookie of the year season.
Yep.
He's him.
I mean, I don't know if I'm at that point with him, but I think like 260, 360 on base percentage, 25 to 30 home runs, very good defense. I love him defensively, especially after Frenchie and Bobby D last year, I enjoy both of those men. I do not enjoy watching them at first base. They have not been doing it for very long and are not very good at it.
Joking aside, I think 25 to 30 is a good starting point for Casas.
I know
he's going to start slow, I think, also. I think that he's taken a little bit to adjust at each level he's gotten to, and this is where his self-confidence, which is like my favorite trait about him right now, is concerned. He's not going to start losing faith in what got him here. And it usually takes him a couple of months, and then he adjusts. And when he adjusts, he absolutely tears the cover off the ball. So I think people are going to have to be a little patient with him. Like you remember when Dustin Pedroia came up, he kind of sucked for a couple of months. And then, went totally rich and hit like 462 or something for a 3-week period. That's what we got to wait for on Casas, let him figure it out.
And who was it that was the guiding force behind Dustin Pedroia figuring it out in the big leagues? I believe his name was Alex Cora, who also happens to be the manager of the Boston Red Sox now. So, maybe some similarities between the two.
Cora likes Casas, and he likes Yoshi, and I don't know. Cora trusts his guys, and he believes in them, and I think that they're going to. I think those two in particular are very key parts of this team, and we'll see.
What are your guys' thoughts on the amount of lefties we have in the lineup?
It's a lot of lefties.
It's a lot, isn't it?
Yeah.
We got Yoshida, Devers, Verdugo, Casas. If you put Duran in there, then Reese. There's 6 right there. I don't know who else I've missed. I'm sure I've missed somebody.
Yeah, I mean, they have a good outfield backup in Rev Snyder, who absolutely pounds lefties. So you have that there at least. But you're right that there are a lot more lefties than righties than we're accustomed to here. And especially if they decide oh, Emmanuel Valdez, we want his bat in the lineup. Well, that's another lefty there. Yeah, it's going to be interesting, especially for putting people into those bench roles, because I do kind of feel like you need a righty there. Maybe that's part of why they brought in Yu Chang. I don't know, but you're right. There's definitely a disproportionate amount right now.
What was that face for, Brad?
Check the chat.
Check the chat, he says. Is this something that we can tell the people that are listening, or is this just for us?
It's not. It's something just for us.
Oh, okay. All right. No worries. Yeah, I just figured that out. I was like, there's nothing in the chat. So I want to know what you guys think about another topic that's been plaguing Red Sox Twitter for the past week or so now, and that's the Noah Song situation. Of course, for those that aren't really sure, Noah Song was he wasn't discharged, but he was released from his contract with the Navy and is going to be allowed to play professional baseball once again. And per the rules, since he was taken in the Rule 5 draft, he has to be on the Phillies 26-man roster for the entire season. The problem with that is this guy has not thrown a pitch in 3 years. So for them to give him a spot for the entire season seems very unlikely. And a lot of Red Sox Twitter seems to be saying that this is a huge mistake that Heim let him go in the Rule 5 draft and that, burn the house down and all this stuff. Brad, go ahead. But I definitely want to get Ed's point of view on this as well.
I definitely want to hear Ed's side of this, but I think he's going to agree with me here. There is literally no reason for us to keep him on the 40-man roster. We had no idea what was going to happen. Nobody could have foreseen him being able to be in the position that he's in right now with the Phillies. I don't know if it was Dombrowski bullying the government or not, but I don't see him staying with the Phillies for the entire season on the 26-man roster.
Yeah, so I gotta tell you, and I'm not gonna name any names, but the Globe reporter that referred to it as a wholesale embarrassment, I really wish they could explain that logic there, because you have a player that, as Brad said, hasn't thrown a pitch in 3 years. He had thrown in his entire professional career 17 innings in a league, short season A, that no longer exists. That's how long ago it was. The Red Sox had a guy on their 40-man who actually had a better season than him that year in Chris Murphy. That, we saw him pitch today and he looked good, but the same guys that are getting all upset about that probably don't even know who Murphy is. And for the Phillies, it's kind of like, how do you explain to another guy that this kid is that we don't know what he can really do right now and hasn't pitched in 3 years, is making not just the 40-man roster, but the 26-man roster. Do you want to see someone that hasn't done that in 3 years pitching, that he's in the NL East pitching against, that Mets juggernaut? You want to see him throwing to Pete Alonso and seeing what happens there? I mean, maybe he hits 700 feet. That might be cool. But yeah, I mean, Song was certainly, the potential was there 3 years ago, but we don't know what he has now. Why are you going to use a 40-man spot on him? And I know you have people saying, well, you just have to retroactively move him to the military exception list and it's fine. Yeah, then you start his counter and he's, gotten like 3 or 4 years of MLB service without even throwing a pitch. Like, it doesn't make a lot of sense to do that. Not to mention, 40-man roster spots don't exactly grow on trees. The Red Sox have had to drop an awful lot of people to hold on to Ryan Brazier and Caleb Hortz. So, what do you want to do with a guy that's only thrown 17 professional innings?
Well, here's the
deal. Want to use that collateral on him? They're getting him back. I'm sorry, they're getting him back.
Here's the deal, Ed and Brad. You guys just haven't opened up your third eye, okay? You haven't seen through the forest, through the trees here. You don't understand that Noah Song these past 3 years has been fucking honing his stuff in the Navy repair yards. And you don't know that Dave Dombo himself sent his top scout out there every one of those years, waiting for this exact moment in the Rule 5 draft. So he fucking knows what he's getting into. Open your third eye, guys. Holy shit.
I don't know if it was entirely spite by Dumbo also to take him. Dumbo just likes getting his old guys.
He does.
He traded for C.J. Chatham. He used another pick to get Cam Cannon, who was another one of his not so good early round picks. And yeah, he definitely bullied the military into letting him go. Brady will tell you that. Brady's been telling me that for years, that it was going to happen as soon as it became a possibility. So
the real question is, why does the United States Navy hate the Red Sox?
That's a good point.
Yeah, they let him go for the fucking Phillies, but not the Sox. What the hell, guys?
Yeah, I think that's the real news story in this. And Hogdale, I don't know how much he was doing there at the shipyards, but as somebody that was in the military and did take part on the active duty softball competitions that we would have annually, not much talent out there. Just gonna go ahead and let you know.
Yeah,
fair enough.
One of the best things that I ever did in the Marine Corps, though, as far as the softball is concerned, is we had an annual event and it was called Big Sticks. And I loved the fact that it was named Big Sticks because everybody would be like, hey, yeah, we're going to Big Sticks. But we would go and do that. And I got a hold of it was like my first at bat. And I got a hold of one. I thought I crushed it. I mean, I did.
Enfield pop, wasn't it?
Oh, no. Like I thought it was gone. Like I hit it and I kind of did like a little bat flip. It started my trot. Center fielder caught it right at the wall. And I was like, man, I've got that warning track power. That's all I got.
So unfortunate.
I get mad catcher energy from you, Brandon. I feel like that would like just if I were to think like what your position would be, you'd be the catcher, like the larger end of the platoon.
Nah, I never actually played catcher. Never my forte. When I was a kid, I was always an outfielder because I was fast. And,
or you just sucked.
Or I sucked. Well, either way, one way or well, they usually put me in center. So usually you don't put somebody that sucks in center. It's usually you bury him in right field because the majority of people are right-handed and they pull the ball. So
right field is your fastest kid, though.
Yep, that's usually where I played because the balls that got into the gaps, I could get to them and then throw them into the shortstop. But anyway, We've talked about a lot today, but one thing that definitely needs to be addressed, and this is specifically for you, Ed, is Tom Karen recently commented on one of your statuses that the Trustometer should be trademarked. And while I do agree that should be a trademarked thing that we do, that's also a missed opportunity to pitch TC to buy a Trustometer t-shirt that are available in the Pesky Report store.
Or hat, which I purchased.
I purchased the hat too, so hopefully that'll be moving on. I'm planning on wearing that as soon as it comes in. New design this year. It's more stick figures. Brandon, you did a really good job on the graphic design for that hat, by the way. I mean, I make the stuff under the influence on MS Paint, but Brandon really polishes that turd, which is pretty cool of him.
I gotta say though, I missed the one with the dead cardinal on the guy's head. I mean,
it's on the Brandon version of it.
It is.
Like, the
it's
hat
back.
should have dead cardinal guy on it, which is definitely for the best.
He's back. He's back. Yep.
He is back.
I think we should take advantage of this podcast platform and the YouTube platform, and this year make your bullpen Trustometer announcements live on the podcast, and then we can put out the tweets afterwards and all that stuff. But that way you could share your screen even, and you can show in real time who's moving up, who's moving down, and we can discuss why they're moving up and down.
Yeah, that works for me. I usually do a few per week, so we'll probably we'll reveal the Sunday one with the podcast. I think I'm not going to hold back on like on the other ones for it when stuff happens. But I think that's a good idea to update the Sunday one with the show. I think that's a terrific idea.
Yeah. I think it just gives us something more to talk about, and we could it seems like a lot of people really do enjoy the Trustometer, and they like to see where you have guys ranked. So
it's America's most beloved and most trusted resource onto who's good on the Red Sox pitching wise.
Specifically the bullpen. Yeah, I can tell you. I did actually have one guy move up from my original one that I wasn't expecting to see because, early on in spring training, you're not expecting to see much from the relievers, but I might have underestimated Wyatt Mills a bit because yesterday he pitched and he looked good. He looked very good with that John Schreiber delivery and just being able to place those pitches. So he jumped up. I think I had him at 10th, and I moved him all the way up to 7th. So I'm going to be surprised if he doesn't crack the opening day roster after seeing him too, just because that look, like he just seems like he's a decent pitcher. So I'm happy to see that.
Does it seem like Chaim Bloom in the front office really like guys that throw like a Chris Sale, like a John Schreiber, like a Wyatt Mills? It definitely seems like they have their template of what they want their pitchers to look like and throw like. and they're just grabbing up all the guys out there that have that kind of repertoire.
Well, think of it this way. If you have 7 Chris Sales, one of them gets into a bike accident. One of them gets his pinky broken. One of them gets run over by a tank. Hogdale karate kicks one of them in a bar brawl. You still have 3 Chris Sales left. So, like, you're in pretty good shape.
What's better than 1 Chris Sale? 7 of them. Yeah, good point.
Or in this case, 3.
God. It's good that they're hoarding that. Just the last thing, the final piece of the Red Sox pitching puzzle is just somehow figuring out how to co-opt the Rays cheating lab. It's all we need to do.
That's a good point. Like, we know that the Rays have a cheating lab. We know from one of the interviews that Ed and I did that the Orioles also have a pitching lab,
a mini cheating lab.
With what money? They can barely even go out to buy players.
It's in like a bunch of cardboard boxes they put together. Do you guys remember the Ed, and Eddie episode where they made it like a metropolis out of all those cardboard boxes? It's like that.
I'm just wondering, like, do the Red Sox have anything like this? Or is it just one of the best kept secrets in all of sports that the Red Sox have a pitching lab or a hitting lab or anything that we don't actually know about to be true?
I mean, they use the metrics and like the stat lab stuff and all of that. It's not like I think that every team with access to it is using it. It's just I don't know if there's
metrics and
facility setup.
Metrics and stat lab is one thing, but the guy from the Orioles that we had on, Ed,
AJ Politi,
Politi, that's right. He told us there was a physical pitching lab that they had in Baltimore.
Do we have anybody in Florida that can do some exploration of the Fort Myers facility? Because maybe in like an underground bunker or something.
I want to know this.
Just a little funny because we have a certain person here that lives in Florida.
Yeah, but I'm like 7 hours from Fort Myers.
It's a big state.
Yeah, I'm like 7 hours from Fort Myers.
All I'm saying is that the Orioles pitching lab is in like some fucking desolate part of Baltimore, like in a shanty town. Like fucking, you can't tell if like the ball when they're pitching, if the ball's hitting a glove or if that's just the 40th gunshot they've heard that hour. I'm just saying.
Wow.
Strong words from Red Sox Twitter's baddest boy.
Hogdale watched The Wire before this episode, and he was just like, yep, nothing but gang violence.
I need to watch The Wire, bro.
The Orioles pitching lab is in Thurmont.
Not sure where Thurmont is, but...
That's not a real place. You actually just...
Good insight.
Yeah.
Good insight.
No, it's definitely a place.
Yeah, it's definitely a place. God damn it.
We'll have to take your word
Maryland.
for it.
Dude, not enough people shit on the Orioles, bro. After the offseason they had, holy shit, man. Fucking, they are a clown organization, bro.
Yeah, it's funny because you have a lot of the people that are giving the Red Sox an F off season are also giving the Orioles like a pretty high reviews, and it's just,
bro. Their banner signing was Adam Frazier. Like, if that's the shining beacon of hope of your offseason is Adam Frazier.
Hey! They also signed Kyle Gibson.
Oh shit, Gibby! Woo!
And Michael Givens returning to the Orioles. You know,
Huge.
They do have those all those young guys coming up. I just think that they're not there yet. I think that they're gonna actually. I don't know. I like the Orioles. I like their fans a lot, so I don't want to shit all over them. But I think that they're still a couple years away from that super team we've been hearing about.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if we got the right Casas.
What do you mean?
His little brother.
His little brother just went yard again.
Oh shit.
He's swinging a big stick.
He's in college, right? Like he's not on a team.
Yeah, he's on the Gamecocks.
Hi.
Gamecocks.
Yeah, I would love to see Casas and Casas.
Imagine a lineup where they bat like 3-4.
What would you do? Devers, Casas. That's
Oh, yeah,
lefty.
I got a question for you guys, actually. What did you think about, they're saying that Turner's going to be batting behind Raffy no matter where in the lineup Raffy's
Love it.
batting?
Love
I
it.
think that makes a lot of sense.
I love his response to it. Justin Turner's response, where he said, "It looks like I'm going to be hitting with runners on a lot."
Yes.
I don't
100
know.
RBI.
May or may not be true. If Devers is raking homers, then he may be coming up with bases empty a lot. But I get what he's saying.
Speaking of Turner, I just read that what's his name, Taj, the first pitcher for the Rays.
Taj Bradley.
Yeah, Taj Bradley. So he got that last out in the first inning against Justin Turner. He got the ball back, and Justin Turner signed it for him.
That's pretty cool.
Dude, I'm so excited for this season, though. Just like, talking about Raffy, that made me think about how the shift being limited he's gonna feast this
he
season,
will
dude.
feast.
Feast.
So I actually have a few things that I wanted to bring up before we actually end the episode. One of them being, what are our thoughts on Justin Turner picking the number 2 for his jersey number?
I don't care. I'm indifferent. He wore number 2 when he broke into the league. It is what it is. It's a number. It's not retired.
Agreed.
I don't care about numbers, so whatever. Wear whatever you want, man.
I think we're all on the same page here then.
Well, here's the thing. It's like, 1, gives a fuck. 2, I don't know, man. Xander last year left a really bad taste in my mouth, man. He was a real fucking piss baby on the way out. Just, being fucking shitty, talking about management shit, complaining, no accountability. He only really started hitting when the game stopped mattering. So fucking bye, and enjoy rotting on the Padres, where you're probably going to be shit for more than half that contract. Appreciate you. Don't let your ass on the way out.
Hogdale, I don't want you to hurt me for saying this, so please don't reach through the dimension to slap me. I'm not gonna. The people that Xander, whatever. I was more annoyed with the Evaldi comment about Plawecki being the kind of guy that you build, you build championship teams around him. And I don't dislike any of these guys. I don't know what's going on in the clubhouse, but there is no way that you could look at that statement and think, oh, yeah, you're right. That's the move that breaks the camel's back, dropping Kevin Plawecki with 2 weeks left of the season. That was the move that did it.
Wow. Dude was like a career 60 OPS plus and couldn't throw out me on the fucking base path. Yeah, this is
to
the
be
guy.
fair, that's because you would body slam the second baseman or shortstop, right?
Dude, it's just fucking... It genuinely was embarrassing last year, the lack of accountability in the clubhouse. The leadership core was just terrible. And from what guys have said going into this season, Kike especially, what he says, hey, fucking the leadership last year, not great. The clubhouse vibe, not great.
So how do you feel about the guys? And first of all, I do agree with you with your sentiment on this, Hogdale, but I've heard from the other side of this perspective that they pissed off the veterans, they spat in their face, and it was disrespectful from the front office not to give them a real outfielder and not to help them at a real right fielder and not to help them more at the deadline. What would you say to those folks?
You all sound like male Karens. You're making millions of dollars. Shut the fuck up and do your job. Holy shit, man. It's just simply not that hard. Plus, the additions that Heim made during the deadline, they seemed minor at the time. All of them worked. All of them did help the team. It's just it was so frustrating last year dealing with that, man. And I'm happy going into this year, even though, people are saying that, Kike can't be a real leader. Count the all-star appearances, bro. It disheartened me that the reporter who asked that was fucking Joe Castiglione's son.
Dookie.
Why?
I do love that the update the resume thing has become kind of
that's funny.
a
awesome.
thing for this team.
If Kike makes the All-Star team, do you think he's going to post a picture of his resume with that being updating my resume?
Amazing,
man.
shit post.
I'm cheering for things like him making the All-Star, him winning Gold Glove,
Platinum,
him winning Silver Slugger as the shortstop, any of those things. So so that he can be resume updated.
How about this? If he wins a Gold Glove at shortstop, Xander never did that.
Xander never did
That's
that.
true. He never did that.
The other thing that I wanted to bring up, and I was hoping that it would be brought up a little earlier in the episode, is Stan Grossfield of the Boston Globe mentioning that Chaim Bloom has received
Oh God.
rare death threats and anti-Semitic slurs. Thoughts? Ed, I'll start with you because for a Jewish guy, I'm sure this kind of hits home.
Yeah, no, it's scary and it's unfortunate and it's completely 100% unsurprising. Like if you're Jewish in America right now in 2023 and you have a high profile position, you're gonna get these. I've heard shit said to me and I'm just like some asshole that talks on Twitter about the Red Sox, like, and not even like MLB Red Sox that much. I mostly talk about the minors and, people when they get pissed off, it's not great. So no, it's not surprising at all. I don't think that it's necessarily something to single out Red Sox fans for, just because there are shitty, racist, anti-Semitic, etc. people everywhere. But like when you see the coverage of the team the way it is, and with specifically Bloom being the target of so much, even though it's a full fucking organization and your owner is setting a payroll, setting a budget limit by his own admission. I don't know why you're focusing so much on the guy that is just making the best with those directions. Also, it's a fucking baseball team. Why why are you threatening to kill somebody over your team being disappointing last year? Get outside, get laid, do literally anything better with your time. What the fuck is wrong with you?
I mean, we were talking about threats here. Let's go back to 2021 when Hogdale was threatening Alex Cora for not putting Christian Arroyo as leadoff.
That was a section in our lives, and I was right at the time.
Yeah, also Hogdale, listen, we've been trying to arrest Hogdale for years, but he's too powerful for the police to take him down. That's really the problem there. They put him in handcuffs and he's just rips right through them.
Literally. I gotta say though, man, the death threats thing, it's so not surprising at all. It's just the current state of the internet and the modern day that we're in. If you were of any influence whatsoever and you're even somewhat controversial, there's going to be a segment of the population who's going to threaten to kill you, even though they are bozos who are built like me with Dorito dusts on their fingers and they couldn't fucking fight a cat. So, it's unsurprising. It's fucking disappointing. It's disheartening. No one should have to go through that. And again, it's baseball. We're doing this for fun. We're watching this because it makes our lives better. And you're going out and threatening people's lives on the internet. Holy shit. Get any sort of a life.
Yeah, weak sauce.
If you put that sauce in a county fair, it would not win anything. That's how weak it is.
I concur with what is said by Ed and Hogdale. It's unfortunate, it's unnecessary, but it's also unsurprising. And in this day and age, that's how you know you've made it, is if you're getting death threats online.
Honestly, it's a joke. It really is a fucking joke.
And the last thing, I'm happy that Nesson decided to go along with Lou Merloni and dropped Tony Maserati, whatever.
Pack watch, rip bozo, suck my dick, Tony Maz, fucking pack watch.
Lou's good.
I had no problem with Tony Maz last year. Lou was a gazillion times better.
He's the best.
But everything that's happened with Maz in the past week, Nesson just did this.
I love the fucking. It reminds me of the meme where it's the dude in his suit, and it's just fucking me watching someone's downfall, in in parentheses because I prayed for it. He's just all happy. Oh God, fuck off, Tony Maz. Thank God you're not in the booth anymore.
Yeah,
Lou's the best. Lou's the man.
Lou, Middlebrooks, and Uke, and honestly, I'm excited to see Uke and Middlebrook step up their game because Lou just seamlessly just went into that, immediately started dropping Sox prospects references, clearly prepared a ton for it. You can see how happy he is not to have to talk about basketball and hockey now.
He has mentioned that quite a few times. I don't know if it was on Nesson or what, but I know that I saw something where he had mentioned, like, I don't have to get up and take notes on the Celtics or the Bruins or the Patriots. I can just baseball. That's my number one.
I know that was a major point of emphasis on the Carabas Name Redacted podcast, and I've loved Lou Merloni in the booth so far, and I think he's solidified himself as the natural successor of Jerry Remy in that role.
Yeah, he really, and this is no offense to Middlebrooks or Uke, who are both also excellent, but Lou's been at it a lot longer than them.
We haven't had Middlebrooks in the booth yet, have we?
We had him last year, and he was pretty solid.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Lou and
he did like
instant
chemistry. He did a couple games last year.
I thought he only did the pre and the post.
No, he did some at the last month. They had him do like a week's worth of them, and he actually was like he was pretty seamless as well. Not to the same extent as Lou, just because again, Lou's been at this for how long now? Just like on the radio.
I mean, he's been doing EEI. He's also been doing NBC Sports Boston as well. So
Lou's the man.
Yeah, no, he's fantastic. He really is. He has a lot of respect for both the craft itself and the game itself, and it really shows in his like preparation. He's so good.
Yeah. You guys got anything else you want to add? Awesome. Well, thank you guys for watching and listening, and thank you guys for being part of this episode. We're looking forward to another great season of Red Sox baseball and tremendous things to come from Pesky Report this season as well. Definitely excited about what's on the horizon for all of us, and we hope that this will just kickstart the season and it'll be a great 2023. See you guys later.
Go Sox.